Hey everyone, today we're going to be exploring Sutton Place, an exclusive neighborhood on Manhattan's East Side, known for a high concentration of cooperative buildings. It's most known in New York City as being the place for old New York wealth. A lot of wealth and really opportunity has changed hands over the last decade to 2 decades in New York City, with Sutton Place kind of falling out of fashion with newer wealth, as kids these days prefer new luxury condo buildings with special amenities such as swimming pools, dog spas, gyms, and the like. But on today's walking tour, I wanted to give you a first look experience of Sutton Place in New York City, to have you all appreciate the beautiful cooperatives, the beautiful pre-war buildings that have made New York City what it is, a great place to live. And you could do your own compare and contrast to say, you know what, maybe I would like to live in Sutton Place. Maybe I would like to give a co-op a shot, as opposed to all these glistening glass facade condominiums. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and head over towards Sutton Place. We're currently on the beautiful Park Avenue on the corner of East 52nd Street and Park. We have a beautiful view of 270 Park Avenue. This is going to be the new JP Morgan Chase office tower. And to the north, we have a great view of 432 Park Avenue, which is one of the most exclusive condominiums in New York City that makes up one of the many buildings on New York City's Billionaires Row. So let's go ahead and get started. Sutton Place is an exclusive and tranquil enclave along the East River in Manhattan. It is bordered by 53rd Street and 59th Streets between 1st Avenue and the river. We're on East 53rd Street now. We'll go ahead and make a right. I should also mention that we are right outside of one of my favorite buildings in New York City. The one and only Seagram building. Such an amazing architectural marvel here in New York. It's one of my favorite buildings, mainly because its foundation is set very far away from the street. As you can see here, it almost kind of creates its own park in a way, with these 2 beautiful fountains and a grand entrance leading up to the front of 375 Park Avenue, or the Seagram building. It's around 4:37 p.m., so you're going to see a lot of people getting off of work. Park Avenue is really going to fill up with a lot of business people just getting off. On our walk today, we're also going to pass the Lipstick building, which, if you're familiar with Bernie Madoff, he was one of the greatest schemers and scammers on Wall Street back in the day. Madoff ran his operations out of the Lipstick building, which we'll be coming up on here in a moment. But every time I think about Sutton Place, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit, because the landscape in the New York City real estate market has changed so materially over the last few decades. And the history of New York is that, real New Yorkers never really wanted to live in Midtown Manhattan. They never really wanted to live where most New Yorkers, or the new wealth, really wants to live today. The desirability of the neighborhoods was a place like Sutton Place, all the way over to the east side, all the way over on the East River, kind of away from the business district, away from that public transportation. in those beautiful pre-war luxurious co-ops, and even some of the townhomes are just stunning. But you've seen valuations drop materially in Sutton Place. And cooperatives, what a lot of people don't know, is that they're very, very difficult. Let's say if you want to purchase in a co-op building, well, oftentimes there's very extensive board packages, and a co-op board can deny you the right to purchase in that building for any reason. They really don't have to tell you why they denied you. And that was really used as a gatekeeping mechanism. Nobody will ever admit that, but I mean, let's read between the lines. Let's be real here. That was really used as a gatekeeping mechanism to keep foreigners out. Just going to be quite honest. And that's why you saw this big boom of developers building condo buildings. And that really was marketed towards foreign investors and foreign buyers, because if you were a very, very wealthy foreigner, you could purchase in a condo building and nobody could tell you that you couldn't, right? But in a co-op, it is much, much different. Much different picture, much different story. Just because you have the money doesn't necessarily mean that you could buy in a co-op. You have to be approved. This is the main entrance to the subway station, Lexington Avenue, 53rd Street, where you can get the E and M trains. Also, the rules for purchasing in a co-op tend to be extremely more strict than that of a condo. So if you're going to purchase in a co-op, you really need to do your due diligence, because restrictions can be quite tight. For example, in terms of subletting the apartment, renting it out, some co-ops don't even allow you to rent out your apartment, or they don't allow short-term rentals. There's a lot of different rules and bylaws that go into it. Condos are much more lackadaisical, if you will. This is now 53rd Street and 3rd Avenue. And we're going to see the Lipstick Building dead on here in just a moment. And here we have it. The Lipstick Building is a well-known office skyscraper located right here at 885 3rd Avenue, Midtown Manhattan. It is called the Lipstick Building because of its distinctive elliptical shape and red granite color that resembles a tube of lipstick. The height is about 453 feet tall, or about 138 meters. It has 34 stories in total, and it was completed in 1986. Pretty cool. One of the things that I think is really going to revitalize Sutton Place is the brand new park that they built over the East River. It's really, really quite nice. You could think about how Hudson River on the west side has the Hudson River Park. The east side now, particularly Sutton Place, has a really, really beautiful elevated walking and running path that'll go all the way to the 59th Street Bridge. We'll check that out here in a moment. It does get a lot quieter the further east you go, which is a bonus. The only thing is the east side is really historically starved of public transportation, even though we now do have the 2nd Avenue subway, but it is a little bit of a hike if you're talking about subway access. If you're looking to move to Sutton Place. However, most people that do move to Sutton Place, they're looking for that privacy, right? They're looking for that exclusivity. But you're still only maybe like a 15 to 20 minute walk from 57th Street Park Avenue, which is really the heart of the finance district, Billionaires Row, all the big banks, hedge funds on Park Avenue. This is now coming up on 2nd Avenue. This new building in the distance is one of the newest additions to Sutton Place. This is Sutton Tower. Thomas Jewell Hansen worked on that project. Sutton Tower, also known as Sutton 58, is a striking new residential skyscraper located at 430 East 58th Street in Sutton Place, New York. The height's approximately 850 feet tall, or 258 meters, and it has roughly 120 luxury condominiums ranging from 1 to 5 bedrooms. And again, the architect on that deal is the very famous Thomas Jewell Hansen, who also, by the way, did work on 157 West 57th Street. This is kind of a cool juxtaposition, seeing a lot of the pre-war, and then in the distance have a lot of the newer product. we continue to walk towards the East River, you're gonna kind of get a sense of the more residential feel of the neighborhood. And to think how the New York City real estate landscape has changed really over the last decade, a lot of the ultra wealthy, high net worth individual foreign buyers is really what's been driving this market in many cases. And as we've reviewed, oftentimes, not all the time, right? But oftentimes they're kind of kept out of the co-op market, and it's a lot easier for them to transact and invest in New York City in a condo. In New York City, a co-op is short for cooperative. It's a uniform form of ownership. Instead of owning a physical apartment outright, when you buy a co-op, you purchase individual shares in a corporation. And that corporation will then in turn own that entire building. So depending on your apartment size, let's say if the building has studios all the way up to 5 bedrooms. Depending on your floor plan, the square footage, you'll have that amount of ownership and subsequent voting rights. When you purchase those shares in that corporation, essentially it just gives the owner the right to live in that unit through something called a proprietary lease. And then, of course, your co-op is governed by that board of directors, which can be, let's just say, a little bit difficult. If anybody's ever tried to purchase in a co-op building, particularly the very coveted ones, they have an extensive interview process, to say the least. And obviously the board is who sets the rules of the building. They could tell you anything, really. If you could have pets in the building, if they allow visitors during certain hours, if they can allow you to even lease or rent out your apartment, and for how long. Do they ban short-term rentals? Do they allow rentals at all? Do they allow pied-à-terring? And now we are on First Avenue. You'll see lots of nice coffee shops, bodegas all along First. Kind of an interesting fact that nobody really talks about. Well, maybe it's not a fact, but it's my personal opinion. If you think about the 2008 financial crisis, real estate in Manhattan, I'm not going to say it wasn't affected at all, but it was really insulated from a lot of the real estate calamity and collapse, let's just say that, in comparison to some of the other states and areas of the country like Miami, Florida got killed. A lot of places in Texas got killed. Really all throughout the Sun Belt got killed. But Manhattan real estate kind of fared pretty good. And I have a theory as to why that is. In my personal opinion, I think it's because of the high concentration of co-ops in New York. Now, you might be asking yourself how that correlates. Well, as we talked about, there's a very, very strict board package. They do essentially an in-depth financial colonoscopy on everybody who's buying in a co-op. So you have to provide extensive financial reporting, broker statements, bank statements, your job, reference letters, referral letters, letters from your boss, an entire audit of your entire net worth, essentially. How well capitalized are you? So if you're a well capitalized buyer and you're approved to purchase in a co-op, well, that kind of insulates you from what happened in 2008, when a lot of the problems, if not the main problem that happened in 2008, was unqualified buyers buying homes. That's really the long and the short of it. If you want to narrow 2008 financial crisis down into a few words, what caused the crisis is unqualified buyers being able to purchase homes, put maybe 5 to 10% down on adjustable rate loans, and when interest rates went up, those payments ballooned and a lot of people defaulted all at once. In some co-ops in New York City, you have to put down as much as 50 to 60%. Or if not, just buy the co-op outright. So it's kind of hard to default on something if you don't have any debt. So that's kind of my synopsis on why I think Manhattan was a little bit insulated from the financial crisis in terms of the residential side. This is now East 55th Street. We're going to go to East 56th Street, and then we will make a right.
Oh, Skylar.
Looks like a lot of kids getting off at day camp or something. And then in the distance, you'll be able to see the very famous 59th Street Bridge. Right here is a really unique view of 432 Park Avenue. You could also see the spire of the Steinway Tower and Central Park Tower. Pretty unique. We'll actually walk up to 57th Street and then make a right. I think 57th Street's the prettier block, so we'll go up there and check it out. Another kind of piece of interesting New York City real estate data as it relates to Sutton Place, I was looking up the other day. If you kind of whittle down by apartment size, oh, here's the very famous Sutton Wine Shop sign. You know, one-bedroom prices declined 8.2% year over year in Sutton Place, while two bedrooms rose 11%. Now, why do you think that is? Well, I have a theory. Kind of as we were talking about and speculating. A lot of the younger crowd, young kids, they don't want to live over here, right? Because, you know, I'm using their words, not mine, so I don't get in trouble. It's older, it's an older crowd, older wealth, it's not as fun, right? So if you think about one bedrooms, who buys one bedroom apartments? The younger crowd, right? Maybe you just graduated college, mom or dad's gonna, you know, stroke you a check for a few mil and buy an apartment. The kid's probably not gonna want to live in Sutton Place, right? I mean, let's just be honest. They want to be in Tribeca, they want to be, you know, in the East Village, they want to be somewhere where it's fun and it has a lot of energy. So I think if you want just maybe an affordable, larger square footage apartment, that's a one bedroom, I think you can get a pretty good deal or a discount in Sutton Place. But larger floor plans for two bedrooms, who tends to buy a two bedroom and up? Well, maybe, you know, an older couple that's downsizing, right? They want a quieter environment in Sutton Place. You know, they want the doorman building, they want the pre-war, very quiet, beautiful architecture, as you see here. So the product that would cater to the younger individual is trading at a little bit of a discount because there's a lack of buyers here in Sutton Place for, you know, single guy or girl purchasing an apartment. But those two bedrooms, older folks, older crowd, more mature. They want to be away from all the action, but while still living in Manhattan. You see that demand. I would say the biggest neighborhoods for younger buyers in Manhattan specifically, the trendiest neighborhoods, are still Tribeca, the West Village. Oh, look at how beautiful this building is. And I would even say the East Village. I mean, you speak to any 20-something-year-old kid out of college, maybe they're early in their career, you ask them where they go out in New York City, well, they probably tell you some combination of the West Village, the East Village, or Tribeca, with a little K-Town sprinkled in there. Look at how beautiful some of these buildings are here. And we haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, these moldings, the crown moldings here, are really, really beautiful. Some of the original townhomes that we're going to see here in a minute are really, really quite stunning. Also notice the sidewalks here, very clean. This is very much a Sutton Place picture right here. Landscaping is very nice, very meticulous. We're now coming up to Sutton Place South. Wow, look at this building here. Look at how beautiful that looks. Just the architectural integrity of that building is stunning. This is my favorite shot on Sutton Place. Look at how beautiful those buildings are. And we're pretty much right on the East River now, everyone. Look at how cool this view is, the 59th Street Bridge. I love that red brick facade, the white outer trim, and then those black shutters. So nice. It's very quiet over here, very peaceful. Check out that architecture, everyone. Wow. It's kind of like, I don't know if that's marble or limestone. Look at the juxtaposition from Sutton Tower to all these pre-war buildings. Pretty cool. Look at that shot of the very top of the 59th Street Bridge. I think you guys are really going to like this. This is one of the things I love most about Sutton Place, is the Sutton Place Park. Check this out. Just a really beautiful park overlooking the East River.
Don't get put off by the fact that it is very heavy. Very
This is a huge perk of living in Sutton Place. Be able to kind of enjoy all these outdoor gardens and parks. But again, in the winter, it's pretty brutal, so won't be able to enjoy it too much. You really have to maximize the enjoyment during the spring and the summer, even the autumn too. You have really great views of Long Island City, Queens. Really amazing views. Let's see Roosevelt Island. And here is that brand new East River Park that's suspended over the river. This is such an amazing bonus to living at Sutton Place. You can utilize and enjoy that park. It's unbelievable. You even have great views looking all the way down into downtown Brooklyn. Could you imagine living in these apartments? The views that you have over the East River? Really amazing. And like I said, a lot of these apartments now you can get at a quote-unquote discount, as Sutton Place is kind of fallen out of fashion a little bit. Such a nice space. Isn't that amazing? Imagine being able to sit down on this bench in the morning, have a cup of coffee, read the newspaper before you head off to work. It's amazing, amazing. And then this is the skyline. All the way over in Queens. Very, very cool. I love those Juliet balconies. Look at these. These are these little Juliet balconies here. You could open the window, overlook the water. Now, 1 Sutton Place South. Make a left because I want to show you all the main entrance to that gorgeous new park. Check out 36 Sutton Place South. I really like this building with those balconies. Okay, and here we are, East 54th Street and Sutton Place South. So if you're visiting New York and you'd like to come check it out for yourself, please do. Just come to East 54th Street and Sutton Place South. You'll have the main entrance to the walking path and the cycling path. And you have the operating hours from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. All this brand new infrastructure. Lots of outdoor greenery. Let's go ahead and head over. This is one of my favorite things to do in New York City during the summertime. And the connector bridge will take you right over the highway. It's so convenient. beautiful park down below. Check that out, amazing views. You could even see the United Nations from here too. It's a pretty cool shot. And those are many of the co-ops overlooking the water. Isn't this an amazing place to come and watch the sunset or the sunrise? You could even see the spire of the World Trade Center. Not a lot of people even know this exists here, but the more traction it gains, I think it has a real opportunity to revitalize Sutton Place. So let's be honest, this is a huge, huge perk to have, mere steps away from your potential condo or co-op. Alright everyone, if you enjoyed this walking tour up by Sutton Place, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and stay tuned for our part 2 walking tour of Sutton Place, New York. Thanks so much for watching. Hey everyone, and on today's walking tour, we're going to be exploring Sutton Place. This is going to be part 2 of a 3-part series exploring and talking about one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of New York City. Now, Sutton Place is one of Manhattan's most exclusive but most overlooked neighborhoods. In the 1920s, this area transformed from a row of slaughterhouses into a retreat for America's wealthiest and most powerful families. Backed by names like J.P. Morgan and his daughter Ann Morgan, Sutton Place became a haven of old money, elegant townhouses, and pre-war luxury. Today, it's still a quiet escape from the bustle of Midtown Manhattan, with some of the best views of the East River in all of New York City. So we're starting off the tour right outside of the beautiful Plaza Hotel. We're also looking at the brand new Grand Army Plaza South, which is set to be completed in November of 2025. So just in a few years, just in a few months here, we're gonna have a brand new Grand Army Plaza South that'll sit right outside of the plaza, which is very much well needed, by the way, because before the renovation, it was kind of ratty and, quite honestly, a little bit nasty. There's a lot of rats and filth, but now we are about to get a beautiful new park. Right here, we're looking at 781 Fifth Avenue. This is the famous Sherry Netherland Hotel that sits right on the corner of New York City's Fifth Avenue and Central Park South. You can still see all the construction equipment up. I'll try to give you all a quick peek through the fence. Looks like they're doing an amazing job here. This looks great. We'll have to film a separate walking tour once it's fully completed. But as we make our way to Sutton Place, we're going to be checking out a lot of notable buildings, as well as talking about some of the most famous architects of the 1920s that helped shape not only the facades but the interiors of a lot of these classic co-ops. One of my favorites being the Italian-American architect Rosario Candela. They still have so much scaffolding in and around the GM building. This is the flagship Apple store. Harry Macklow is famed for landing that big anchor tenant.
1, 2, 3.
Give you one more look at the beautiful Plaza Hotel. You're also looking over at New York City's Billionaires Row. You can see the Steinway Tower, that is 111 West 57th Street. And you could also see a little bit of 157 West 57th Street. That was the first building ever constructed on Billionaires Row. Adjacent us is the very famous Bergdorf Goodman. We're going to go down to the corner of 57th Street and make a left and head over to Sutton Place. We'll also have really good views of the 59th Street Bridge. But this is one of my favorite buildings in the city, just off to the right. This is the Crown Building. That is now home to the Amman, New York. You know, another exciting new development you could see all the way in the distance is 520 Fifth Avenue. Such a nice building. Here's a better shot of the Crown Building here. This is looking westbound on 57th Street. And then, of course, right here is the flagship Tiffany building that LVMH put about $500 million into this renovation. All up and down 57th Street, you're going to have some of the most luxurious shopping and retailing in the city, which is quite fitting for New York City's Billionaires Row. Behind us you have the Saint Laurent store. Now you're going to notice as we head over to the east side, Sutton Place is not too far away from all this action, and that's actually why I wanted to start off the tour right here, to show you just how close you are to all of this metropolis, shopping, retailing, and even all the office infrastructure up and down Madison Avenue and Park Avenue. However, just a 10-minute, 15-minute walk away, you're in this secluded and seemingly private neighborhood that is Sutton Place. As we talked about earlier, there's a very high concentration of co-op apartments in Sutton Place as opposed to condominiums. And co-ops are a little bit different than condos. If you are purchasing a co-op, you're essentially purchasing shares in a corporation. You're not purchasing the actual property rights as you would be if you purchased a condominium. There's also much stricter rules and laws and regulations surrounding co-ops, particularly on the Upper East Side of Manhattan and places like Sutton Place. As we look up here, this is one of the most famous condo buildings on Billionaires Row. This is Harry Macalow's 432 Park Avenue. The architect on this big project is Raphael Vignoli. He's famed with getting those beautiful 10-foot by 10-foot windows. You can see the Dior store to our left. Much different architecture here on Billionaires Row as opposed to what you'll be able to see as we head over towards Sutton Place. I do want to pan the camera to this limestone building here. This is a Zeckendorf development. This is the same developer who did 15 Central Park West. That is 520 Park Avenue. A lot of big Wall Street executives call that building home. I've mentioned this before, but this building right across the street from us, this is 590 Madison Avenue. This is the old IBM building. Now, IBM still has a footprint in this building, but it's a much smaller footprint. Big private equity giant Apollo just signed a lease for 100,000 square feet of office space in that building. Right here, we are in the Four Seasons Hotel that just reopened on Billionaires Row. You also have the opportunity to purchase individual condo units right here at the Four Seasons. They're on some of the lower floors, but you're going to be looking right into 432 Park Avenue. So even though it's a great property, I just think the views perhaps will be a little bit compromised, in my opinion. It's funny, I was just recently at the Morgan Library. I try to go to the Morgan Library a few times a year, and it kind of made me reminisce on the Morgan family and just how pivotal they were to making Sutton Place what it is today. I mean, JP Morgan Jr. saw massive potential in all of the riverfront lots that border Sutton Place. His purchase helped drive out all of the factories that were there and bring in new wealth, as a lot of those factories were torn down and these beautiful townhouses were built. You'll see a lot of them. There's these stunning cul-de-sacs over there in Sutton Place and these just historic, architecturally pleasing townhomes with great views over the East River, these beautiful backyards. It's really stunning. We're now crossing New York City's Park Avenue. This is looking northbound on Park. And this is looking southbound on Park Avenue, all the way towards Grand Central Terminal. And then, of course, our newest neighbor on Park Avenue, 270 Park, which is that brand new JP Morgan Chase office tower. You also have Cantor Fitzgerald not too far away from here, just up the block. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Cantor Fitzgerald due to our Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick. Unfortunately, the majority of the employees at Cantor passed away on 9/11 as they took a direct hit from one of the planes during those terrorist attacks. coming up towards Lexington Avenue. As we make our way further east, you're going to start to see the nice mix of pre-war buildings, but also the post-war buildings as well. (135 East 57th Street) is the building we're passing right now. This building has found itself in some major financial trouble. It is quite a beautiful building, though. And that's one more shot looking up at 432 Park. From the corner here, you have a really good shot of the Chrysler building. You know, there's a new coffee shop that just opened up in the Chrysler building. It's called Watch House. I believe it's from London. Now approaching the corner of 3rd Avenue. When we get to Sutton Place, I really want to take a trip to 1 Sutton Place, which is a beautiful building that was actually a project of famous Italian architect Rosario Candela. If you want to learn a little bit about him, there's so much of his work that is published in major architectural books. There's lots of great videos on him, but he was born in March 7th in 1890, and he passed away on October 3rd of 1953. He was an Italian-American architect renowned for designing luxury apartment buildings right here in New York City, especially during the booming economy of the 1920s. He is celebrated for defining New York City's characteristic traced setbacks in terms of those balconies. You'll see some on the walking tour today, but also his signature penthouses. Candela's work staples some of New York City's most signature addresses, particularly on the Upper East Side. 5th Avenue, Park Avenue, and of course Sutton Place, where we're going right now. Rosario Candela's most famous work was the John D. Rockefeller Jr. triplex at 740 Park Avenue. Someday we'll have to do a walk up by 740 Park. It's an amazing building. If you go on Street Easy and just type in one Sutton Place, you really understand the beauty of a lot of his buildings. They look rather modest from the outside, but I tend to like the look of them from the outside. But the insides are unbelievable. Again, if you go on Street Easy, you could look at some of the pictures I'm talking about. You'll see these massive grand entry foyers, these huge spiral staircases, like these beautiful wavy curved staircases. Also, if you can get a duplex apartment, those look really beautiful. Coming into view now is Sutton Tower. This is kind of the new Sutton Place. Thomas Jewel Hansen was on this project. Once we get past this Whole Foods here, you'll be able to see it. It is quite an interesting looking building, but it does kind of stick out like a sore thumb amongst the skyline of Sutton Place. There's really nothing like it.
Or at least
in our previous Sutton Place tour, we kind of talked about the changing landscape of New York City real estate as it relates to kind of what buyers want. And younger people, by and large, they want to live in all these condo buildings with the amenities. Swimming pools, gyms, fitness centers. That's kind of all the rage amongst the young people now. But there's a very scarce amount of product in Sutton Place that could offer all of those modern luxury amenities, right? As we discussed, many of the buildings there are from the 1920s. Really old, beautiful, kind of co-op buildings. On a price per square foot basis, you could probably get a good deal on an apartment here in Sutton Place. You get more bang for your buck, so to speak, but just know that you're kind of buying out of fashion. But potentially, that style of living may come back into fashion. You never know. This is the main on-ramp to the 59th Street Bridge, or the Queensboro Bridge. You're going to notice how it's getting a little bit more quiet now, especially as we cross over First Avenue. The neighborhoods are very quaint, very quiet. You'll see a lot of the doormen out with their signature uniforms. But again, if you needed to commute to the office on Park Avenue or in Midtown Manhattan, it's only about a 10 to 15 minute walk. I mean, if you're walking straight there. This is now First Avenue. And right as we make this left, you can see the 59th Street Bridge. Here's the Sutton Wine Shop. I always like looking at the graphic on the front of it. This is established in 1939. Hopefully we'll be able to see the tramway going over. Inside the 59th Street Bridge, you have a Trader Joe's. So if you're thinking about moving here, you also do have a lot of good infrastructure in terms of places to go grocery shopping. You have the Trader Joe's here. We just walked past the Whole Foods. You still have a lot of the mom and pop pharmacies mixed in too. I just want to quickly make a detour show you all some of the side streets. This is 787 Coffee. It's a cute little coffee shop here. I really like these small little holdout buildings. So nice. Just want to stand back so you could see it. Very, very nice. You'll notice it's a lot quieter here. I already feel a little bit less stressed than being in the main hustle and bustle of Midtown Manhattan. And let's check out the front of Sutton Tower, so we can kind of see a blend of the new Sutton Place and the old Sutton Place. It is quite a nice facade. Let me know what you guys think. This is the East Side's tallest waterfront tower, Sutton Tower. We'll check out some of the beautiful cul-de-sacs here with these just unbelievably impressive townhomes that look right over the water. This is now the corner of East 58th Street and Sutton Place. You're going to see these unbelievable picturesque views. But this is my favorite shot in all of Sutton Place right here. Isn't that amazing? I mean, you're really not going to find something like this anywhere else in New York City. And then you're looking right at the 59th Street Bridge. just really like all the detail on these buildings. Everything is so neat, so meticulous, so put together, so elegant. This is 30 Sutton Place. Like, just look at how well tailored the landscaping is. Now this is really going to blow your mind here. Right on the corner of York Avenue and East 59th Street. Look at that. It's a very, very picturesque now outside 35 Sutton Place. But I want to come back here just to show you these gorgeous views. Be able to see all the way to Long Island City, Queens. Check that out. Pretty amazing, right? So you could just imagine the views that you have if you live in one of those townhomes right at Sutton Square. That's going to be the next stop on the tour. We're going to make this left on Sutton Place. And we're going to check out these beautiful Sutton Square townhouses. Look at how pretty these townhomes are. You could even see their little dog in the window. How cool is that? They're doing so much construction, but so now we are entering Sutton Square. This is arguably the most exclusive cul-de-sac in the neighborhood. These 1920s townhouses back up to the East River and share a private garden. Back in the 1920s, Anne Morgan, who is the daughter of J.P. Morgan, helped transform this area from industrial to elite. She and her friends bought up all these homes and turned Sutton Place into a sanctuary for the wealthy. And it definitely shows. Like, guys, look at this. And it looks like almost everybody is doing some sort of facade restoration on their townhouses. But these are absolutely stunning. You have these beautiful backyards right here. I mean, imagine having a backyard in Manhattan. And then you have this gorgeous public park overlooking the East River. I mean, you really can't beat that. And then more gorgeous townhomes here. And pretty much all of these have been redeveloped and restored in one way, shape, or fashion. I mean, just look at how beautiful those entrances are. I mean, could you imagine coming outside your door in the morning and waking up to this? Grabbing the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, coming out of your beautiful townhouse. I mean, just get a load of this. I mean, look at the private driveways. And all of these townhomes share this beautiful backyard. And it's pretty unreal. Of quickly take a walk into the park. This is Sutton Place Park. And here you can see a little bit into the backyard. Down here you have that brand new East River Greenway. You can see the entire skyline of Long Island City, Queens, all the way out to Brooklyn, the Williamsburg Bridge, and then of course these picture-perfect views of the 59th Street Bridge. It's really quite amazing. It's like a hidden gem in the middle of New York City. Now imagine those views out of those windows. Really quite nice. If you look closely right here, there's this beautiful spiral staircase. Private driveways, private garage. This is 6 Sutton Square. But guys, check out the detail on this door. Holy crap. That's like a custom, beautifully wood-carved door. That's unbelievable. I remember just a few years ago, all of these were having facade work done, and they've just done an amazing job. We passed 11 Sutton Place. That townhouse at 11 Sutton Place, yeah, that once belonged to J.P. Morgan Jr. He was another key figure that was responsible for shaping this neighborhood. The whole Morgan family practically rebranded this area from those old slaughterhouses we were talking about to high society and luxury oasis. So you could thank the Morgans for that. I mean, look at this one. And when you think about real estate, it's always location, location, location. And when JP Morgan Jr. saw this area right on the water, he saw the potential. And that's why he accumulated a lot of this land here. And drove out a lot of those more industrial slaughterhouses. Here's 11 Sutton Place. Again, once belonged to JP Morgan Jr. Pretty cool. Let's actually see what it says here. I can't read that, but I'll let you guys zoom in. Oh wow, a key creation in China's modern banking system. Historic landmark preservation. I wish I could read it, it's just too far away. Wow, his family lived there for almost 50 years until his death. Wow, developed Kips Bay Plaza, very cool. See, I never knew that. I'll have to go back on the video and zoom in on it, on that plaque, because I really, really want to read that. We just passed 3 Sutton Place. Beautiful building. Owned by the United Nations. Sutton Place is a really close proximity to the UN. So it's obviously a top choice for a lot of the diplomats and international leaders to be here. There's that stunning blue door. And then this is the park we walked in our last tour. Stunning. Now I want to stand back a little bit. So I can show you this building right here. This is 2 Sutton Place South. It sits right on the corner of East 57th Street and Sutton Place South. This is an Emery Roth building. Roth designed some of the most famous buildings in all of New York City, like the very famous building on Central Park West, on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, the San Romeo. This one's a great blend of Art Deco and classic pre-war style. You've got to look at some of the images on Google of the San Romeo on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. 2 Sutton Place was built in 1938. They're just doing so much work here, it's kind of loud today. Usually a very, very quiet neighborhood, but so this is 2 Sutton Place South. Amazing, amazing building. Stunning decor, stunning architecture. And right across the street is 1 Sutton Place South. This is one of the finest examples of pre-war luxury in New York City. This was designed by Rosario Candela in 1927. This is a co-op building known for its classic brickwork and river-facing gardens. Really nice. That again is 3 Sutton Place, owned by the UN. And one more look at the Rosario Candela building. If you go on Street Easy and just type in 1 Sutton Place South, the apartments in there are so stunning, it's unbelievable. Here is Sutton Place Park. Such an amazing place just to come and read. And here's the back of that beautiful Rosario Candela. But if you all enjoyed part 2 of the walking tour of Sutton Place, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and as always, we will see you in the next one. And thank you so much for watching. Take care. Hey everyone, and welcome to Sutton Place. Today I'm going to be taking you on a full walking tour, but we're going to be taking a different route. What you're looking at right now is the 59th Street Bridge, and we are overlooking the brand new East River Esplanade. You can see the skyline of Long Island City all the way out to downtown Brooklyn. This is just an unbelievable new addition to the east side of Manhattan. It's this beautiful elevated walkway, biking path, with the hopes that one day it goes all the way around the entire island of Manhattan. We're going to be talking about some of the most notable buildings right here in Sutton Place. Should be a little bit exciting today because we are getting close to the UN General Assembly. If you think about neighborhoods like Beekman Place, also Sutton Place, you could also probably include neighborhoods like Murray Hill into this conversation. Due to the close proximity to the United Nations, there's a lot of politicians, both domestically and abroad, that choose to call these 3 neighborhoods home. You'll see a lot of consulates, also due to the close proximity of the neighborhood. And it doesn't hurt to have these really gorgeous views. So let's go ahead and get started. Also, here's another thing. A lot of tourists, when they come to New York City, they're just enamored with, the stereotypical New York tourist attractions like Times Square, Broadway, and the like, and I think that's fine, but there's so much more that New York City and Manhattan have to offer. So hopefully this walking tour will open your eyes to some additional places that maybe you and your family would want to visit. It's quite unique. Beautiful architecture pretty much everywhere you look. Great views over the East River. You can see one of the NYPD tugboats going by. And here you have a massive barge with some shipping containers on top. Now this big extended platform where we're standing, it connects downtown to the main walking, or I should say on the lower level, which is the main walking and the running path. I'll zoom in on this building right here. That is Rockefeller University. And the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Astors, the Morgans, were some of the main families that helped build Sutton Place, Beekman Place, Murray Hill, all those neighborhoods that are our favorites. The classic old money wealth in New York City. You could also include the Astors and the Fricks. This is the new Schwartzman Medical Center. So if you were to make a right here and go down this ramp, it'll take you to the walking path, the running path, and the biking path, and onto the new East River Greenway. But for the sake of today's video, we're going to be walking directly under the 59th Street Bridge and exploring New York City's Sutton Place. I was thinking about this the other day, and for some historical context, the real estate values have actually fallen quite significantly in Sutton Place. But my bet is that new additions such as the East River Greenway, East River Esplanade, those are huge additions that I believe are going to work to revitalize the neighborhood. Although, yes, it's true that Sutton Place has a high concentration of co-ops as opposed to condos. A lot of the buildings are lacking in those amenities that all the youngsters like. I still think it's a great neighborhood, even though it's very far over on the east side of Manhattan. Usually things trend in the city. One year Tribeca will be fashionable, the next year the West Village will take over and be super fashionable. So my bet is that we'll have a little bit of a boost for New York City's Sutton Place. If you look all the way over to the west side of Manhattan, you'll see some of the buildings on New York City's Billionaires Row. You can see the spire of the Steinway Tower. You could also see the spire of Central Park Tower. And as I point the camera towards the sky, we have these really cool views of the tram. We'll now make a left and head uptown. This is York Avenue, by the way. York Avenue and 60th Street. This is looking uptown. Traffic appears to be extremely heavy today. We'll start to head uptown. This big dome-looking thing that you see under the 59th Street Bridge is the Sutton Tennis Club. You can see the top of the dome, all the rust that's been falling off the bridge, sticking on the tennis club there. Quickly looking over towards the east side, or the west side, but it is on the east side. That's 432 Park Avenue. That's one of the buildings on New York City's Billionaires Row, developed by Harry Macklowe. Unique views all over the place. This is 30 Sutton Place. Beautiful building. And of course, you can't forget all these townhomes here. You're going to see one of my favorite buildings by Rosario Candela. For those of you who don't know, Rosario Candela was an Italian-American architect that was most famous during the 1920s. You could consider the Roaring 20s all the way leading up into 1929 when you had the major stock market crash. But Rosario Candela was an amazing architect because not only was the facades of the buildings that he was on stunning, but what really stole the show was the interiors. Rosario Candela was famous for building what you would call mansions in the sky. So very, very expansive floor plans, really grand foyers, kind of brought that townhouse living into high-rise apartments. So 1 Sutton Place. Wow, look at this building, stunning. Also a few other buildings like 740 Park. Are some of the most famous works of Rosario Candela. John D. Rockefeller used to own the largest apartment at 740 Park. Across the street and take a look at some of these gorgeous townhomes, which, by the way, just recently went under renovation. This is 6 Sutton Square. I've showed this door before, but just look at the detail on the door. I've highlighted this one once before. But just so stunning to be able to walk outside of your townhome, have those great views over the East River, and look right at the 59th Street Bridge. Here you have your private driveway and those big bay windows that, of course, look out into your private backyard and over the East River. The Morgans also had, well, I should say, played a very big role in the revitalization of Sutton Place by acquiring a lot of these townhomes and solidifying the neighborhood for, at the time, you could call the ultra wealthy. Looking over to our right, it's an interesting juxtaposition as you see Sutton Tower. Sutton Tower is one of those ultra-luxury condominiums, but I actually really like it, and I'll tell you why. And it's because one of my favorite, more modernist architects, Thomas Jewel Hansen, is on that project, and I think he did a fantastic job. Thomas Jewel Hansen also did the interiors at 157 West 57th Street. we'll go ahead and check out Sutton Place Park. See all the pigeons here. It's actually kind of funny. It's one of the main things I really like about Sutton Place is just the numerous amount of public parks. So if you have a condo here, co-op, rent an apartment, there's definitely no shortage of outdoor space. Very meticulously landscaped as well. This is Riverview Terrace and Sutton Square. I'll give you a close-up view of 16. And again, the vast majority of these have underwent extreme facade restoration. I also like how all the streets are lined with trees. In the autumn, this is going to look really, really nice.
Yeah, as long. Do you mind calling me after 6 on Monday?
There's yet another beautiful townhome. You can see in the window here, this person set up their office. You can see that computer screen in the window, looking out over the street. It's very nice. I also really like this unique blue door here too. Okay, we're now on Sutton Place and East 58th Street. All of these homes are really special too. I really like the look of 19 Sutton Place right here. Very unique architecture with the brick facade as opposed to the solid slab. I'll bring you right up to the front door so you can see some of the detail as well as the moldings around it. It's really quite nice. I wonder if those are the original panes of glass. On some of the buildings, I would presume, but perhaps not on all of these. You'll see 2 Sutton Place South. This is another gorgeous building. Check out how unique it looks all the way at the top with those terraces and those balconies. You can really only imagine the great views you'll have overlooking the East River. That's a good shot. The old buildings from 1929 and then the new buildings that you could say, I guess, are encroaching on the neighborhood. As we leave summer and approach the fall, you can really see how the landscaping is being ripped and replaced. I've been noticing a lot of children, young families moving into the neighborhood, which is great. You can see all the different activities for the young kids. Look at how unique this shot is. You can see just the very top of the 59th Street Bridge over the hedges here. And you'll see they're ripping up all the landscaping and getting ready for the fall and the winter. There you can see 1 Sutton Place South. That's one of Rosario Candela's best works. It's really unfortunate you have all this scaffolding all over it, but the building is quite old. We're talking about the 1920s, so the mandatory facade work has to be done. We also have done an entire series on the architect Emery Roth. So if you're interested in New York City architecture and you want to see some of the most famous buildings in New York City, go ahead and check out our Upper West Side walking tour, where we explored some of the most famous Emery Roth buildings. Now look at how beautiful this is. We are now standing at the main entrance of 1 Sutton Place South. just a beautiful entrance. It makes it look very, very luxurious. All the limestone. These tall ceiling heights. You almost feel like you're in a Great Gatsby type movie. It's gorgeous. It's great if you have a driver, because right from the street here, if it's raining or something and you're taking a taxi cab home, you could have the taxi or your driver turn right into the driveway and you're completely covered and protected from the elements, which is great. Not a lot of buildings in Manhattan have that, if any, anymore, especially a lot of the new developments. What do you guys think? That's such an overlooked perk, especially if you're older. The Steinway Tower at 111 West 57th Street has a very similar feature, but the garage doors do come all the way down. I just love it. Let me know what you guys think. I've never showed you this entrance before on the walking tour, but it's a feature of the building that I believe is understated. You'll see a similar thing, but to a smaller degree, on 2 Sutton Place South. Let's go check out 2 Sutton Place South. We'll do a quick compare and contrast of that. Roundabout. We're now in the corner of East 56th Street, 14 Sutton Place South. Again, more beautiful limestone. And one more look at the facade of 1 Sutton Place South, Rosario Candela's apartment. The cityscape views from here are just stunning. I mean, look at that shot. You have the trolley or the tram going over. All of those beautiful row homes and townhomes. And then here's the private driveway of 2 Sutton Place South. I believe more buildings should have these active driveways. It makes it more convenient for residents to get in and out of the apartment while being shielded from the elements. It's really enjoyable just walking the neighborhood of Sutton Place, seeing all the doormen, the staff, standing right outside of the buildings. Really gives it a sense of community. And the landscaping is very well taken care of at every building. Of course, more scaffolding all over the place. But that's par for the course. I really like the brickwork and the masonry over here too. Look at that one little holdout. We're now approaching the corner of First Avenue, and you'll see the Sutton Place wine shop. Now zooming up all the way to Billionaires Row, you'll see the spire of the Steinway building. And Central Park Tower. We'll go ahead and make a left on First Avenue and head towards 56th Street. Zurich Coffee. This looks like a nice little coffee shop. This is now the corner of East 56th Street and First Avenue. We'll go ahead and make a left. You'll see a lot more residential apartment buildings. Over to the right, you'll have Plaza 400 or 400 East 56th Street. Very quiet over here. Again, I want to point out how nice it is to have these tree-lined streets. I feel like there should be way more trees in Manhattan than there are in very, very select few neighborhoods where you have them. Many of you have pointed out before on some of the walking tours that many of the buildings have fallout shelters. And that is true. Many of the buildings here do have fallout shelters. So if you're ever walking around, pay close attention to the signs on the side of the buildings. We'll probably be passing one here in a moment, but you'll be able to see the sign and it'll clearly say fallout shelter. This is the side of 14 Sutton Place. This is a beautiful building, minus all the scaffolding. And to the right of us is 20 Sutton Place South. And yes, you guessed it, covered in scaffolding as well, unfortunately. This is a very unique view because you can see all the way over to Queens. And then, of course, the beautiful Rosario Candela building here. Looking at it from this angle, it really shows just how much of a monstrosity it's tremendous. You have 20 Sutton Place South. And coming up, we have the main entrance to the new East River Greenway. From where we're standing right here, if you look all the way in the distance, you can see the skyline of downtown Brooklyn. How cool is that? This is the corner of East 55th Street and Sutton Place South, and you can see the Brooklyn Tower. Pretty amazing. We'll walk past the front of 50 Sutton Place South, and then I'll take you guys into one of the parks, and then finally onto the new East River Greenway. Notice how clean the sidewalks are here, guys. Landscaping meticulous. Sidewalks are sparkling clean. And 50 Sutton Place South has these great balconies. Imagine the views. This is really fantastic. You can see the staff and the doorman come out to greet you immediately. It's great service here. And look at the landscaping again. It's picture perfect. And here we are, East 54th Street. Looking over to our left is the main entrance to the East River Greenway. You'll see this bike lane that will connect directly to the on-ramp. Making for an easy commute from the business district in Midtown Manhattan. If you're working on, let's say, Park Avenue or something like that. Lots of people with their pets and their dogs. I haven't showed you this park yet, so we'll take a quick walk through. This is all brand new, renovated as well. Did a great job on the public space. Brand new benches. I'll quickly take you to 53rd Street, just so you can see some of these stunning homes here. The trees do as best of a job as they can with the noise reduction, but you are right on the highway. really good. Look at those bay windows. You can pretty much see directly into this apartment. But those views must be insane. Look at how nice this is. All right, let's go ahead and merge on here. Dedicated lane for the bikes. Dedicated lane for the pedestrians. Now we're walking over the highway. It's a pretty cool feeling being suspended over the highway like this. Oh man, the fresh air feels good. And there you could see it, that big skyscraper sticking up. That's the United Nations. That's the building we were just looking at with those bay windows. Look at that. I always like pointing out this view right in between the United Nations. You can see the spire of the World Trade Center. right, everyone, if you enjoyed another walking tour of Sutton Place, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and as always, we will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.